Hey my dudes, how's it hanging? It's your boy ZNF1 here. So today I want to discuss with you guys a little bit on emergency food supplies or things like MREs and freeze-dried foods. Then, kind of what exactly is the best way to go based on certain circumstances or interests or needs you might have. But before we get into that though, let's cue intro. With emergency food or survival food, for a bug out bag or stored inside your house in case, flood happens or all the food distributors in the world happen to magically blow up or something, or if there's really no food around at all that you can get for a while, these are going to help. The two different types you have would be like your standard MRE, and then there's also the freeze-dried, which freeze-dried is generally going to be better. However, there is some other ones that are kind of similar, and they're not freeze-dried, nor are they like MREs. Generally, MREs are going to be cheaper, as far as I am aware of, in most situations, whereas freeze-dried can sometimes be a little bit more, or a lot of the time rather. Other times you will find some good ones or decent ones like Mountain House. They're a pretty decent brand that has a good shelf life. Like this one, for instance, doesn't expire until 2046. That's simply because of what's in it. That's still quite a long fucking time, and this was purchased 5 to 15-ish years ago. I honestly couldn't tell you. Last I remember, my dad bought it before he passed. So it's been a minute, like at least since I was in high school. That's over 6 to 10 years. Just ridiculous. That will last all the way till 2046. So like freeze-dried food, generally it's gonna be a little bit more, but it'll last a lot longer than per se the standard MREs or like different brand versions of the MREs. Now we got a couple of different brands of like freeze-dried foods and then the MRE, I just want to kind of like do this so you guys can understand which ones are like fairly decent. Predominantly here, we're going to go for, which one lasts the longest and also has like the best taste for how long it lasts, or just like which one overall is the middle ground of all of them, or like the best like deal out of all of it. Now, the really good thing about MREs, or the slightly off-brand generic ones that are made for public usage, with the MREs you get all like the essential nutrients you generally need. Although, however, there's all those preservatives in it and a bunch of other crap just thrown in there specifically to preservatives aren't the greatest for your body, so naturally like you can feel more constipated or other things. From videos I watched and what all I learned is that in the military, they're generally drinking twice as much water as what you would normally, especially if they're living off MREs. Like you need to stay plenty hydrated, because otherwise you're gonna be a little backed up, and it's gonna take a while. But those will stereotypically last about anywhere between 5 to 10 years. 10 would be more if the MREs are stored in like a cool, temperature regulated place, that's not really exposed to a lot of sunlight, and that's simply because cold preserves things a bit better, and they're not meant to last as long as something like freeze-dried. So again, something that's freeze-dried like the Mountain House Raspberry Crumble, which has had all the moisture sucked out of it, versus the MREs, which aren't really 100% like that. They're just chock full of preservatives, whereas this has all the moisture taken out of it, so it actually lasts longer, because moisture is generally where bacteria thrives and everything else. Now, generally, I personally am going to lean more towards the freeze-dried if I have the money to do it. If one's cheaper than the other, say the MRE is cheaper, I'm going to go for that, strictly because it'd be for an emergency situation, and it's just a good buy to have in case I do happen to need it, for whatever varying reasons. I'd rather be prepared and have some food than none at all. And especially if I have to go hunt for it, this would make it 5 times easier, so I don't have to do that as much, or I can like pace out the hunting a little bit more and, just ration these out instead. But with that being said, first off, we're going to try the Alpine Air Southwestern style Masa with beef. The majority of freeze-dried goods, generally, what you need is simply just to add water or boiling water to it. to sit there and help induce the cooking, because it'll all happen itself because all the moisture will get absorbed back in. When you use hot water, you know, obviously it's going to absorb the heat too to make it nice and hot. Versus if you use cold water, it's not really going to absorb the warmth. It's going to absorb more of that cold, so it'll stay a little bit cooler. Alrighty, so with the Southwestern style masa, apparently what you need is 2 cups of water, or 16 ounces that has been boiled, to put inside the pouch. So, you know, we got our water here. Dump, and, you know, get your good old fucking stovetop or, you know, fire going and get her boiling. Once you got your water all nice and boiling, take your seal off, you know, like that, and open her up. Make sure to remove the deoxidizer, or the oxygen absorber. It won't kill it if it's in there and you forget about it, you know, but you just remove it after generally. Then, you know, you take your water, give it a little stir, and make sure your measurements are accurate. This one has an easy fill line inside it. It's kind of hard to see, but this is exactly what the 2 cups worth was. So we just, you know, make sure we stir this all nice and good. Then you seal her up, and we wait for 10 to 12 minutes, and then, you know, stir her up again, and we, you know, just get the chowing down. I'll see you guys in 10 to 12 minutes. Let's go ahead and see what we got here. Give her a little taste test here too. This will also be my first time having masa, as far as I'm aware of. We'll see how it tastes. It's actually not too bad. I can taste the black beans and pinto beans in it. I'm really not that big of a fan, but this is actually pretty decent for like emergency food. I'll fuck with this. It'll make my life hell of a lot fucking better. That's for sure. All right, so the next one that we're going to do here is going to be the 4 Patriots. Out of the 3 that we got inside the 72-hour emergency or survival food kit, we had breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and we decided to go with America's finest mac and cheese, only the fanciest for you guys. Now, unfortunately, the one thing with the 4 Patriots emergency food kits, you basically have to like take out all the ingredients inside here, or the contents, and pour it into a pot of boiling water. You know, cook it like you would normally, which, I mean, not really too big of a deal, especially if you're just using this at your house, you know, where you have plenty of pots and pans. All right, so we're gonna start boiling here, you know, and we'll start making everything. It takes about 20 minutes for that to happen too. All right, so now that we got our 3 2/3 cups of water a-boiling here, all we gotta do now is, you know, empty out the packet and reduce the heat to medium and let it cook, stirring occasionally, for 20 minutes. So I'll see y'all in 20 minutes. Now it's cooked for 20 minutes. We're gonna let it set for a couple more, but it looks like some pretty solid mac and cheese here. Alrighty, so now that the good old America's finest mac and cheese here has thickened up, do a bit of a taste test. That's not bad. It's decent. Just needs a little bit of seasoning. Aside from that, that's pretty fucking decent. All right, so the third and final little freeze-dried emergency food packet we're gonna make is this mango sticky rice. This lasts about 2 years apparently. Again, in case I didn't state it already, if you buy some, sometimes it'll last 2 years, other times it can last up to like 20 to 25, if not 30 years, if you store it correctly, you know, in a nice cool place that doesn't have a lot of sunlight or sun exposure to it. The stuff can last you a really long fucking time. All right, so now we're back to our trusty old stove. And get your 1.5 cups of water we need. Dump her on in. Get you a little, you know, pocket salt. And let her boil. Another really good thing to invest in for emergency food prep or like survival kits will be your good old spices. Things like garlic powder, salt, pepper. Salt and pepper specifically are really good ones to invest in, simply because They're simple. They can make things taste so much better. If I would recommend anything to like kind of stock up on a little bit, it'd definitely be salt and pepper out of anything else. I got my, my dope bag here of fucking garlic powder, but if I got salt and pepper, I'm honestly gonna be just fine because like that stuff kind of enhances the flavors, of whatever it's put into instead of like adding a specific flavor to it, so to speak. Whenever you don't have that stuff, it's like whenever you are surviving, and you hunt your food, like a deer, for instance, and you go to make it, and the TV shows or the cartoons or anything like that, they'd be cooking over fire, finish making it, and then they go by and they're like, "How's your deer there, bud? Needs salt." So spices are always a worthwhile investment to kind of stock up on a little bit. They are a lot cheaper than some of the other things too. So another good thing I would suggest, it would definitely be to stock up on them. All right, so now we got that boiling. Turn off the old stove. Holy shit, it's a little steamy in here, isn't it, you guys? Now that we got the freaking water boiling, we're gonna dump it into this cup over here and then put it in the pouch. Always make sure to remove your oxygen absorber. Again, just a good habit to stay in, but really will make your life a lot easier, and you don't want to actually ingest it because it's not good for you. Take your water though, your boiling hot water, dump her in. Give her a good old stir, a really good one. So this will be my first time ingesting this too, so I'm excited to see how it turns out. And seal her up. With this, apparently we wait 8 minutes and then give her a good old stir. I'll see you guys in 8 minutes. They're partners. That's really not that bad. I definitely could have this. Like, you can definitely taste the coconut and the mango in it for sure. It's really not that bad at all. That's pretty decent. Out of the 3 of these, I'd have to say probably between the Alpine Air, 4 Patriots, and then the Backpacker's Pantry. My favorite, honestly, probably would be Alpine Air. The reason why that is simply because, I don't know, it was nice, like, hint of spice to it and just really flavorful. I didn't expect to actually, enjoy that because I don't really like beans, but I actually enjoyed that quite a bit. The beans were kind of like just blended up and stuff like that in it, you feel me? So you don't really think about it, but it was pretty fucking dope, honestly. Southwestern style, and it's got a little bit of beef in there, so it's got a nice amount of protein in it. It's 36 grams of protein per package, which is pretty good. So it takes care of quite a bit of nutrients for you. Especially if you're like me and tend to eat a lot. I would really love this stuff. It would be fucking great to have on like a hiking trip or anything like that, or in case of emergency where I need food, you feel me? I have it stocked up. Oh shit, like, damn, let's smash this shit up. It's gonna be fire, bro. I have that little excitement, encouragement, something to look forward to, which makes it that much easier to get through the survival scenario. That is always very, very crucial in survival situations, whether out in the wilderness or just sitting at your home, not having much food to rely on. Having just that little bit of motivation can be like a key factor in whether or not you croak out or you give up, etc., etc. I always keep a positive mindset simply to, make my life a lot easier and better. Because if I didn't, man, I'd still have a lot of fucking depression and anxiety, OCD, etc., etc. I wouldn't be where I'm at right now, where I'm as happy as I am and, not having mind raging so much all the time. But that's thanks to a lot of the stuff I learned with positive affirmations and then, some breathing techniques, which if you guys want, I'll leave a link down below to all these products for one, and then 2, to the breathing technique, the Wim Hof method, which helped me regain my center and my core and get in touch with my inner self, so that way I could live a much happier and healthier life. Now, obviously you should eat healthy too, or moderately healthy. Just go to places where they have affordable pricing when you can. Mental state plays a huge role in these type of situations, and the better, more positive you make your mind, the better. Now, generally, most of the time for ingredients and like MREs and stuff like that, they're chock full of just really shitty preservatives. The main goal is just to make food that lasts and survives, you know, that's the main thing. And long-term situation, you definitely don't want to be doing that. Short-term, you'll be fine, but if you do that long-term, it's going to lead to a lot of health complications and everything else. If you can avoid it, definitely do that. And things like the For Pantry one, for instance, there was a bunch of silicone dioxide or like silicone-based chemicals in it, which you shouldn't be ingesting silicone really. And mind you, it's not too much. It's literally less than 2% silicone dioxide that was in it. But stuff like that, titanium dioxide, what is it called? Trisodium phosphate, which is a cleaning agent in paint thinners, by the way. That's in things like your Cinnamon Toast Crunch, etc., etc. So be on the lookout for that, because I didn't know that. And then when I found that, I haven't touched anything that has it in there ever since. But then, you know, you got stuff like the Alpine Air, which is freeze-dried and pretty good still. The worst that it had in it was, it had silico-aluminate. I mean, it says aluminate, which I'm assuming is derived from aluminum, and then mixed with silicone and sodium. So obviously not gonna be the greatest thing to have all the time, but this is way better than, you know, like the standard MREs where they have a bunch of fucking shitty things in there, which aren't really good for you and can, you know, poison your body if ingesting for a very prolonged period. Then for the Backpackers Pantry, really the worst thing you had in there, if anything, would be the sodium metabisulfite, which I don't really know much about that, but that would be the only thing I would think if there is anything in there that's like excessively bad for you, you feel me, in like heavy quantities or anything more than just a little. The price on the Alpine Air is $8.32 with Prime membership, and then roughly $9 plus tax without it on Amazon if you guys want to get it. So if you guys want some Southwestern style Masa with beef in it, feel free to check that out on Amazon, $9. The Backpackers Pantries price for the mango sticky rice is roughly $7. That's roughly $1.48 per ounce, but not a bad price still for one package. It definitely could be significantly worse. It could also be cheaper, you know. Decent price for that. Then, you know, the good old America's finest mac and cheese is roughly $27 with the 72-hour survival food kit by 4 Patriots. That's, you know, breakfast, lunch, and dinner with that kit, and that's only $27, which roughly equals out to, you know, about $1 per ounce roughly. So it's still a really good deal for 72 hours. Like, this will help last you, you feel me? Because all of the amounts of rations that are in it or servings, there's quite a bit. It's a good deal, you know. And then you could get a like 4-week supply for $247 with Prime pricing, I guess, on Amazon. But you could also go to their website and check out what they have on there too. All 3 of these guys are pretty good from what I've gathered. I enjoyed every one of them, and it seems like they also don't have really too much bad stuff in it, except maybe more on that end would be the 4 Patriots one, if any. Either way, like, the freeze-dried food's way better, more tasteful generally than your standard MREs. So I'm generally gonna like lean towards them and recommend those for you if you have like people that are picky eaters, or you just kind of want something that tastes a little bit better. I mean, not everybody can really stand just like the way some MREs taste. Unlike, you know, people that are older, like my father's age or my mother's age, you know, or like my grandparents, where that was something they prepared for and was just part of it, you know, and they also don't really need to have that. So they're like, oh, food, you feel me, to survive. And that's just a mindset, and it takes a lot of practice to have. A lot of people in the military have that mindset because they were trained to be that way. These would help, though, with, you know, making things a little bit easier to ingest, spicing up a variety, especially with the 72-hour emergency meal kits. Those come with a variety of things, so good to check that stuff out. All right, so that's gonna be it for us today, my dudes. If you guys did enjoy, as usual, please don't forget to, you know, like, share, comment, and subscribe. It does mean a lot to me when you guys do this, and helps to show me what you're enjoying that I'm putting out there for you, in addition to getting us further up in that YouTube algorithm, proving to people that you don't need to rely on your governments or the systems of the world in order to be self-sufficient, sustaining, and or happy. If you did make it to the end of this video, please leave the word sufficiency in the comment section down below. Let me know that you guys made it to the end and you're part of the 100% club. Until next time, however, though, my dudes, please don't forget to, live long and prosper, take care and peace, and keep it 1,000,000% real. I'll see you guys on the flip side.